I think that's one of the major things that I feel about how I'm feeling and how I've been feeling since we got here. Of course, it's up and down. You know, I'm not always like miserable, but is that I'm in this beautiful place. I mean, look at this. This is just so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. It's like heaven on earth, and yet I'm struggling a lot. And I thought when we moved here that I'd just be happy all the time, forever. I was, how wrong I was. You know, I've gone through some major mental breakdowns since we moved here. And a lot of it has centered around my inability to play, to do what I love to do as an artist, and how hard and impossible it feels to be able to do that. And then looking out at this amazing arrangement of, you know, these rice terraces and these beautiful clouds, and it's just hard. It's hard for me to appreciate it because I can't do what I love within this context. But I don't want to go back to what I experienced before of struggling, being in the United States and struggling to survive. I don't miss that. But in a way I do, because at least we were able to play. Somehow, you know, it was never easy. It's not like it was ever an easy process and we were having a great time all the time. That's not how it was at all. But I think one of the major things that I struggle with is when I go through these times of struggle, I look out into this world and I'm like, this is the most beautiful area of the world I've ever seen. Why am I struggling so much? Why am I so sad? I shouldn't be sad. I don't have the right to be sad. I don't have the right to struggle like this. Because look at the circumstance I'm in. And I don't have to play anymore. You know, I'm not in a position where I have to go and play music and I have to try and struggle to survive. But I think in a way I'm like fucked up by what's happened in my life, and I'm just kind of mentally, maybe I just struggle more than other people in a certain way, and I think it's because I've been trying to do something for a good period of my life that I've loved to do that has always felt unheard and unseen. Always. It's not been like I've felt in the years that I was able to do our work together, that I was able to do it, and I was able to do it happily and comfortably and joyfully. That was once in a million years that would happen. So I can feel, I think I probably would say that I feel guilty for feeling this way, for feeling sad and being focused on something that I don't really even need to focus on anymore. I could just stop thinking about it and just try to enjoy the world that I'm in. But like I said, I feel like I'm grieving. I feel like I'm grieving for the loss of something that I once had that I loved to do. No matter how hard it was to do it, I miss it. And it's something that has been a huge part of my life that is no longer there. I mean, we no longer go out, you know, on a regular basis and play music in public spaces. There's nowhere to do it. There's no way to do it. Not here, not in Southeast Asia, not in these parts of the world. They don't understand street performance, and I don't want to be a street performer. You know, I don't miss that at all. I don't miss being a street performer. But there was a certain thrill to it. There was a certain unpredictableness to it. But I'd say that in the last few years of me doing this, you know, public performance thing with Bunny, I was really quite miserable because I wasn't finding it satisfying anymore. Because I was seeing how people were no longer paying attention, and all the things that were the motivations for me to do it were no longer there. Money and audiences, they didn't exist anymore. And so I was really losing energy and ability to do it, and so we're here. And I'm looking at this amazing, beautiful view, and I'm sad. But I think it's that I have to acknowledge my feelings and be okay with what I'm feeling, and not give myself a hard time for for feeling the way I'm feeling, because I'm going through something that's very unique to me, and it's really hard. And sometimes I'm able to just live my life and do my thing, and it doesn't bother me. But I think it's always there. The wound is always there. The feeling that I've failed somehow, that I've not been able to accomplish the thing that I wanted to accomplish, which is becoming a successful, sought-after performer. Instead, I'm here in this world, kind of cut off from the rest of the world, you know. And I don't see what would cause us to be back in the United States. I don't really want to be back in the United States, or go back to Europe, or any of these places where it would be more expensive to live. I'm not interested in struggling to survive anymore. My desire really deep down is to be a performer, to be able to perform regularly and share this work that we do in a way that feels safe and secure and stable. You know, be able to be a touring performer that has venues and spaces and people like a normal performer. And I've never been able to experience that in my whole life. And I know there's pressure involved in that, you know, but I don't know what that's like. I don't know what it's like to have the pressure of, you know, producing an album in a year and then touring the album and having to do that year after year after year. I don't know what that's like. I can imagine that, like, when I was sick, let's say, that I wasn't able to sing for weeks, and I'm still not really able to sing, and it's almost been a month. And imagine if I had the pressure of, you know, I had all these shows set up, and, oh, look, ducks. Oh, they're so sweet. That I had the pressure of, I had performances I had to do, and then I had to cancel them or whatever, and lost a bunch of money. But I don't know what that's like. I've never known what it was like to actually be a sought-after entity as an artist. And like I was saying before, it's basically, to be an artist is it's either that you're totally alone and isolated if you're unknown, or you're sought after and you're celebrated. This is making me think about an artist named Aurora, who I really am so similar to. It's scary. I think I've mentioned her before. She just released a new album and is touring again. And I've seen a few videos of her performing at festivals and stuff, and it's just, sorry. It's really hard to see that, because it's not like there aren't opportunities for performers. It's just there aren't opportunities for unknown performers in the world. And I'm one of them. I just happen to be completely unknown and unrecognized, and so I don't have opportunities. But someone like Aurora, who's younger than me, has huge opportunities to be seen as an artist, and that hurts, because it's not like it's not like I'm not capable of doing that. It's just it's like I'm able to do it. I'm very strong and healthy. I have a strong voice and ability to create and be creative. Able but not, that's what it feels like. I'm able but not capable, you know? That's what it feels like, definitely. Because I'm able to, you know, sing and make music and be creative and all of that, but I'm not capable of reaching people, really, like someone like Aurora is. I mean, she releases a song or an album and hundreds of thousands of people listen to it and come see her at shows, and she has these huge crowds of people singing along with her, and she has so much, of course she has so much energy, because because she has a huge amount of people focused on her. And so I could imagine that there would be a lot of stimulation and motivation to create music, because there are a lot of people wanting to hear that music. And like, for example, Thoth and I have several albums that we released in the first several years of our career together. And but we have several albums that we haven't released, that we've never released because there's no interest in it. And I've always thought about, you know, releasing it and putting it up online, but there's no motivation really to do that because nobody's interested. And I just feel like I don't have the strength anymore to keep struggling away, especially because I don't have to, you know. And I can feel guilty about that, you know, I should keep, and I'm in this position in my life in which there's no should anymore. There's no should or must. I must do this, and I don't have to do anything. But I'm not satisfied to just not do anything and not, like I spend most of my time drawing these days. And it's wonderful. I love drawing, but I can't spend all of my time just drawing. You know, that it drives me crazy. I go crazy. And you know, the only option that I really have to play music is I just practice in the bathroom, and that's not satisfying. You know, it's really, really hard to just go take out the violin and say, I guess I'm just going to play a few songs in the bathroom just to keep my fingers healthy and well. And I look into the future and I don't see any way that we will be able to do our work again. I just don't. I don't think I've ever been in this position as an artist before, where I really cannot see any possibility. I can see us being here. I can see us possibly moving to Thailand, or moving back to Portugal, or moving to another country in Southeast Asia, going to India or whatever. But going to those places and doing those things is not going to change the situation we're in. Like, that's really the only thing that I have the ability to do, is to move to another country, but it's not going to change anything. It would be a different environment, different people, different culture, different food. But I'm also really jaded, because I mean, I feel like I'm 65 years old, not 36 years old, and that's another thing that's really disturbing about this feeling. And I've been having this feeling for a few years now. Is that I feel really old. I feel much older than I am. And I can't even tell you how disturbing that feels, because like for Thoth, he's 70 years old, and he had a career for like 35 years. And for me, I'm like, yay, Thoth, you have accomplished the impossible. You have every right to just lie down and relax. And he doesn't. You know, he's working, he gets up at 6 a.m., he works out, he goes for his walks, and he plays, he works on his projects, you know, he's just so devoted and committed, even though he's not like out pray-forming in the same way that he was before. And he's just so devoted. And I just, you know, I think that he's been such a huge success in his life, and he's 70 years old. You know, we've moved to Bali. He's retired. And he's doing what he loves to do. You know, for me, I'm only 36, and to be in this position where I'm living in a beautiful foreign country and I don't really have to do anything anymore, it's like that's another 50 years of my life. Like, what am I going to do with the rest of the 50 years remaining of my life without the ability to do the one thing that I love doing, is playing music, and playing music with my husband. And I also think about the fact that there is this, I'm having this experience of now of feeling like I'm grieving for the loss of our expression, our performance expression that I love doing, and I can still do. I just don't have the ability to do it anywhere. And I don't want anybody to give me advice. Like, please don't say anything. Don't give me advice, because I've done everything I can. There's nothing more I can do. It's like I'm at the end of my rope. It's not like there's something I can do and I'm just lazy and I don't want to do it. It's that there's nothing I can do. Absolutely nothing. This is just feelings that I'm suffering through because I know there's nothing I can do. But yeah, the thing that I feel about Bunny is that he's accomplished the amazing feat of having struggled away as a street performer for 35 years. He did it for as long as he could, and he still does it, you know. He goes out and does it in the morning or in the afternoon, and he just does it for free, just for his own joy, and it makes him happy, and I'm happy to see that. I don't really want to do that because it's draining and tiring, and I don't feel like I really gain anything from it. But I like supporting him and doing it. I'm just amazed by Thoth. But it's like I don't feel any hope. I don't feel any belief that like something will happen if I just keep trying. I've tried for so long and nothing has happened. I mean, I'm in this position now in Bali, living in Bali with Bunny, not because of having accomplished anything with our work. The reason we're here is something completely different happened that would have happened no matter if I'd, you know, been a street performer or been an artist or not. But what I was saying about, you know, I think the thing that's really hard that I'm also struggling with is that I'm suffering with this grief that is really, it really gnaws at me sometimes and really just fucks me up. And it really helps to just talk about it, even just on camera. But is that I'm grieving for the loss of this, the feeling like the work has been lost and there's no ability to do it anymore. And then I feel like I'm in this space now, and I don't know when I don't think the feeling will ever go away. I don't think the grief will ever pass, you know, because something that I love doing that no longer exists, I just don't think it's ever gonna like heal. I don't see that happening. It might get better over time, that the wound, that, you know, it just hurts less, maybe. But it, you know, but then Thoth is here. He's here, he's alive, he's well, he's healthy. I adore him, but he's the only person I have anymore. You know, I don't have any of my friends from the United States. I'm not in touch with anybody. We don't see anybody. We don't have any friends here. I mean, in a way, moving to Bali has been one of the biggest disappointments of our life, because we came here thinking that, I mean, if you go back and look at the old vlogs of us first coming here, that felt like we finally found a place where we can play music and we can feel loved and feel accepted and all of that, and we have friends and people are loving us and opportunities to perform, and we can move back here, and suddenly all these things will start happening, and everything that we thought was going to happen didn't happen. None of the spaces that we thought we were going to play in turned out to be spaces we could play in regularly. All the friends we thought we had are too busy with their own lives to have time for us, which is, you know, people are trying to survive here too, doing their own thing. And sorry. But, you know, I'm having this experience now, and I have Bunny with me. Like, when I go home, he will have gone out and done his little walkabout and stuff, but he'll come back and he'll be there, and I can give him a hug and talk to him about what I experienced, and that I ended up sitting here for half an hour talking to the camera, which is really nice, actually. But there will be a day in which he will die. You know, and I know that's stupid to talk about or think about now when that's not happening. But the other day I was reading about like grief and how grief works, and what it means to like grieve and what you experience grieving. And a lot of the things that it mentioned were things that I'm dealing with every day. Feeling like there's a wound that reopens all the time through different triggers. That's happening to me. Feeling lost and alone and helpless and hopeless, feeling that too. All these things are just little things. But I can't I mean, the only thing that I can see in the future of my life is that I'm grieving for the loss of my work, the work with Thoth, while he's alive. And then he'll die, and then I'll grieve for him, and I won't be able to survive it. That, like, sometimes I really feel like I'm not going to be able to survive this grief, because the loss of doing what I love is, it's so painful, and it breaks me. So I had a bout of, really long depression for a few months when we first moved here in March, in which I wanted to die, because I was just so broken up by the fact that Thoth was continuing to play, but he was just playing for the birds and the bees and singing to the trees, and I don't want to do that. I want to play for an audience, like a normal performer would, and just realizing that I didn't want to do what he was doing anymore. I was just, and I would cry and I would freak out, and I was, just horrible, feel really guilty, and because I don't want to be a street performer anymore. I don't want to play to nobody. I don't want to, that's not what I want. I want to be a successful, sought-after performer. And as I've gotten older, this is the thing that makes me feel so old, is that I don't see that happening. I really am having to come to terms with the fact that I don't think that's going to be my life. Because obviously, I'm living in Bali. We're alone, pursuing our own little creative path together, and that's not what's happened. And I don't have hope anymore. It's not like when I was 25 and I felt like things were happening, and I really believed that something would happen if I just kept trying. I don't have that kind of faith anymore. It's more that what I see is that I'm grieving now for this loss, and then I'll grieve for Thoth's loss, and then I'll just die, because I won't be able to survive. And this is a really vulnerable share. Please don't judge me, please. I'm just being really honest about what's going on for me. And it's really hard to share this, because it's, like I said, we're in this absolutely beautiful part of the world, and one would think that I'd just be happy all the time. And I think anybody who is aware that we're living here, and I think a lot of our friends and fans are like, no, we're living in Bali, that they would just assume that we're just blissfully happy all the time. And that's not what's happening at all. I would say we're struggling more than we ever have before. And, I don't know if I'm struggling with this, and this is like impossible for me to work through, unless I have days where I, can kind of ignore it or suppress it, or bury the feelings. I just don't know how I'm going to handle then the experience of being alone, dealing with this, and having nobody to talk to or work my feelings through or cry to. This Thoth is he's such a little teddy bear in my life. He's just such a sweetie pie. The other day when I was starting to get over my illness, when I'd gone to the doctor and I was taking all these medications that were making me all fucked up, I just cried and cried and cried to him, and he just held me. And that's happened a lot over the years, is that I just have a freak out and he just holds me. And maybe it's just I'm just a fucked up person, and I know people say, remember to be grateful for where you are and what's happening in your life, and these beautiful places that you're living, wonderful food you're having, and but it's this feeling of it's not like I don't enjoy things, because like yesterday, Bunny and I went to Iman Spa and had this wonderful massage that was so soothing and relaxing. Massage is like the only thing that helps clear my head, because it just tires me out so much that I can't think anymore, which is great. And I know a lot of it is me overthinking and being alone with my thoughts, but I'm kind of antisocial. Not kind of, I'm really antisocial these days. I don't really want to be around people. I find people very boring and frustrating. And these days in Bali, there are a lot of people around, and I don't really want to deal with people anymore. And that's my privilege in my life. Another privilege I have is that I don't really have to talk to anybody or deal with people anymore. And I'm really embracing my kind of feeling of solitariness, which in the past I wasn't able to do. I had to go out and like street perform in front of a bunch of random people in order to make money to pay for food and rent and whatever. And I'm really lucky I don't have to do that anymore. But it, not doing that, that was a distraction. It was a suffering, difficult nightmare at times as well. But at least I could, now I'm just kind of a lot of the times alone with my thoughts. And again, it's like I'm only 36 and I have to find a way to survive this. And it's like if I survive it and I come out the other side where I'm like, I'm okay not performing, I can live a happy life doing other things, then Thoth will die. And then I'm going to have to deal with that. And that's going to be the hardest thing I've ever dealt with in my life. Because right now, he's the only person I have. And what am I going to do? Am I going to just continue wandering around the world by myself and draw pictures at cafes or something, and like I used to do when I was a kid? I just don't know how I'm going to survive that. And I don't have anybody else to really help me with it. And I don't have anybody really to help me with this. There's nothing anybody can really say to me. There's nothing anybody can do. There's nobody to blame. It's just this kind of empty feeling of like loss that it clouds a lot of the, well, not a lot of the time, it comes over me like a dark cloud, like a fog. And it really does help talking about it, so thank you for listening.